Hi everyone, my name's Laura and this is my channel So Very Laura. A very warm welcome if this is your first time watching me, and welcome back if you're an existing subscriber. In today's vlog I'm bringing you the other fabric haul that I promised you at the end of my last vlog. So last vlog, for those of you who saw it, and I'll link it down below in case you haven't seen it, was what I got at the Festival of Quilts. But I've also been accumulating bits and pieces since about June, and a lot of them were bought with discounts, which were in the virtual goodie bag from the Fold Line Sewing Weekender, which the Fold Line have run every year since I think about 2020. They used to run an in-person one. And then, of course, when we all went into lockdown, we had to go virtual, and I've been attending it ever since. So a lot of these things were purchased a bit cheaper than I might otherwise have got them. Okay, so let's try that again. I just tried to tilt the camera down to show what I was wearing, and I'm filming on my phone and it fell off my selfie stick, which I use as a tripod. So we'll try that again. So I'm wearing today a Molly tee from the Sew Over It ebook. I think it's City Break rather than Work to Weekend, but I'll pop the link down below, in this navy cotton jersey with gold flowers on it. Hopefully you can see that. And yeah, it's just a straight drop-shouldered long sleeve t-shirt top, and it's got like a shirt's tail hem. Okay, so let's get into my haul then. So as I said, most of it comes from the discounts that I got on the Fold Line Sewing Weekender. So let's start with the things that aren't fabric. So I bought a couple of patterns from the Friday Pattern Company, and I think I got them at a 25% discount. I thought I'm not very likely to ever see them at a lower price than that. And the first one I've been coveting for ages and ages and ages, and very nearly bought before, and that's the Hughes dress. So I'll pop some pictures up here of it, but you'll see it's kind of a shirt dress because it's got buttons down the front, and it's really quite long. But what I really like about it, I'll put the picture in, is the back, which has got this kind of lace-up effect on it, like almost like a faux corset. And I've wanted it for absolutely ages, so in the end I bought that. Whether it'll get made this year, I don't know, but anyway, that was my first one. And my second one is something that actually I've looked at and kind of thought, yeah, probably not for me, and that's the Avenir jumpsuit. Now, I do like a jumpsuit, and in fact I've got one on my Mate 9, but I wasn't sure about this one with the elasticated waist, but I've seen it looking really nice on other people. So Claire, who is Loves Red Sews, has made some, and also Beck from What Beck Sews has made some. And I kind of thought, yeah, actually it's worth a try. So I bought that one as well, and that might get made up this year. We'll see. So they were the two patterns that I purchased. The other non-pattern thing that I purchased was these, which are, they're not properly stuck down anymore because I've been using them, but it's the Jenerates silicone hammer. So this is the lovely Jen Hogg, who was on Sewing Bee, and she has created these silicone hammers. So you can get them in either centimeters like this one, or inches. And again, I had a discount code to get these. She now sells them through the Fold Line as well. So I decided that I would get those because I've got a metal one, but I'm sick of burning myself on it. So this is the inches one. I have tried using these. I've tried using them on the Olia shirt that I made for the Busy Bee Sewing Challenge #1. They're not a panacea in terms of not burning yourself because the holes allow the steam to come up through the iron, but they're certainly a lot better than the metal ones. What I would say is to make sure before you actually start trying to do anything really precise that you know exactly where your measurement is in terms of the holes. I think it kind of comes up to your measurement is like the top end of the hole from the edge, but obviously that is a few millimeters wide. So that's the only thing I'd say about it. Just make sure you're clear where you're aiming for, if you like. So that was the Jenerates silicone hemmer. Let me just, I've got my iPad down here with my list of things. So excuse me if I am looking down. No, that was it. So we're now on to fabrics, you'll be pleased to know. So the first fabrics I'll show you, again, I got with a discount code from the Fold Line Sewing Weekender. And these both came from Guthrie and Ghani. And these have already been through the wash, so I apologise that they are a little bit creased these days. I tend to wash fabrics as soon as I get them, and then I iron them when I'm ready to use them, because otherwise I find they just get screwed up when I store them, and then I need to iron them again. So they're both viscoses. So this is the first one, and it's a black linear sketch, it's called, is the design. And I got, well, I tried to buy 2.5 meters, and I got a really lovely phone call from someone at Guthrie Ghani saying that they had found, when they cut it, they found a mark, which of course I can't find now, and it's not that far in from the selvage. But rather than just supply me with 2.5 meters, what they did, they gave me 2.7, which I thought was very kind of them, which gives me a little bit of leeway in terms of cutting. So that was really good. So I ended up with 2.7 meters. So this was the first fabric I got. You can't get it anymore. I had a look on the Guthrie and Ghani website, but what you can get is the same design but kind of reversed. So where this is cream, it's black, and where this is black, it's cream. So I'll link that one down below in case you like the design. I just think it's really quite nice, and it'll be quite smart for something to work for work. And I do have a specific thought in mind for something I might make with it. I might have got a bit too much fabric, but on the other hand, at the moment I don't have a piece of fabric big enough to make this. So some of you might remember that I've talked about making this before. So this is from Burda magazine, and it's from February this year. And you can see it's just a straightforward short sleeve top. And in fact, if I flip it around and show you the line drawings, you can see it's got darts going down from the bust down to the waist, and it's got a zip straight down the back. And this is all traced off and ready to go. And I wanted to use a remnant from a dress that I made to go to a wedding last year, and I don't have quite enough. But I think actually that will look really quite nice in that fabric. And I've got some black trousers and a black jacket that I could put it with for work. So that's probably what I'm going to do with that fabric. So that's the first one. And the second one I got is pretty much the same substrate. So again, it's a viscose, and these aren't hugely expensive. But this one is navy blue with these kind of flowers on, big flowers, big flowers. And I have got 3.5 meters of this one. So I think this might be hopefully a wearable toile of the Avenir. Because at the point I bought it, I actually ordered the Avenir after this. I was thinking of making a dress with it because I wanted something full length to show off the print. But I think actually the Avenir might look really nice in this. So yeah, I think I might give it a go in this because, as I say, it's not hugely expensive, and therefore if I make a mess of it or I decide I don't like the pattern on me, I haven't lost a whole lot. Okay, so that was Guthrie and Ghani. So I think actually they were the only fabrics that I got on the discounts. So Everything else that I'm going to show you either came from Birmingham Rag Market or the swaps table at the Southern Sewcial. So when I went to Birmingham Rag Market, I went with the express intention of getting something to make a wearable toile of the Chapman cardigan, which is by Ellie and Mac. And that's one of my Make 9. And I want to make it in a black cable fabric, which you'll have seen before around on the internet. So the Northern Soul Sisters did a collab with First to Fabrics of it, so it's just got kind of cables down it. But I was a little bit worried because it doesn't have a huge amount of stretch in it. And so I thought that I should probably make a wearable toile first. So off I went down to Birmingham Rag Market with the intention of getting some knit fabric to make a wearable toile. And so I got this. And I think I've got 2.5 meters of it. I'm pretty sure it's polyester. It was something like £2.50 a meter. But you can see it is fairly stretchy. That's the right side or the wrong side? There you go. But it's pretty see-through, but for a cardigan and a toile at that, it'll be fine. But you see it's quite stretchy. So I thought I'd have a go with that, see what I think, and then I can decide what I want to do in terms of making a black one, whether I want to use the cable fabric or whether I want to use something different. So that was the first fabric I got. And there's a funny story attached to this. So yesterday, when I was going through and sorting out fabrics for this vlog, I'm trying to be really mindful and I'm trying to log everything on Stash Hub when it comes in. So I'd already logged the Guthrie Ghani bits, but I hadn't got round to logging these. And so I took a picture. And what I've also been trying to do is if I've bought something, and like when I bought fabric at the show the other week, I've been trying to find it using Google Lens to see if I can import the information, because on Stash Hub, if you can put a link to a website page, it'll suck in all the information for you. So just on the off chance, I took this photo of this fabric. And when I looked at the results from Google Lens, it says, "This is meant to be a guideline only. It is purely indicative and you should always visit a doctor." What it had done is it had matched the picture of this fabric to some kind of dermatitis and a picture of dermatitis, which was slightly worrying. I mean, it is a terrible photo because it's such a close-up, but it did make me giggle, and I thought it might make you giggle as well, so I thought I'd tell you. So that was my first fabric from the Rag Market. And my other fabric was, you guessed it, an impulse purchase, and I think I got 3 meters of this. And it's coming up more royal blue on screen, but it's actually a sort of tealy green. It's not a bit more greeny than it's showing on camera, with these really large kind of brown and cream and grey flowers. And I saw this, and they had it in other colours as well. They got it in a mustard, and they got it in something else. I can't remember. It might have been a red. I don't know. And I really liked the sort of mustardy yellow, but that colour does not like me. And I did think this was lovely. I think it's a viscose. It feels beautiful. Whether it's got any poly content in it, I really don't know. They told me it was viscose. And I think this was something like £3.50 a metre, so I got 3 meters of it. So yes, so I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this. I might make another Olia. I might make a wearable toile of the Frida blouse, which is also on my Make 9. But I think this will look lovely as either a blouse or a dress. I just think it's so pretty. As I say, it's a more greeny blue than it's coming off on camera. But that was Birmingham Rag Market. So those were my fabrics from there. And then I picked up at the Southern Sewcial swaps table, I picked up this, which is a kind of snuggly fleeced back floral pattern. It's quite wide. I've got about 85 centimetres of it. I think it's really fun. I think it would be quite nice to use as something like a collar on something, or maybe sleeves. But I do have an idea for using up my French terry fabric scraps, so it might end up getting put into that. But I do really like that. I thought it was really pretty, so I grabbed it. And I did pick up another fabric from there, and I can't now see it, which means it's probably buried under something. So just going to pause and go and get it. So the final fabric that I've got to show you, which I also picked up from the swaps table at the Southern Sewcial, is this one, which is a lovely stretch jersey. Again, it's a remnant, and I don't have an enormous amount of it, but I think there is more than enough there for me to make another Tammy handmade Naya tee, and I think that would look really good. I mean, it will go great with things like jeans. It's got these sort of rust colours in, which I also really like. Rust I can get away with, mustard I can't. But yeah, I think that will be lovely. And it's very me because it's kind of quite quirky and a bit squiggly. So yeah, so I grabbed that as well. So thank you to whoever put those two lovely fabrics on the swaps table. And I was very restrained because that's all I actually picked up from there. So that's all the fabrics that I've got to show you from new. But before I leave the topic of fabrics and go on to show you my make, I just wanted to touch on a couple of bits from my last vlog where I talked about what I got at the Festival of Quilts, with a couple of kind of updates and a bit of a kind of salutary lesson for me, which I thought I'd share with you. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who wished me happy birthday on the back of my last vlog, and who also took the time to comment. I will get round to replying to you all individually if I haven't already, but thank you, it was lovely. So yes, the first thing is that after I'd filmed my last vlog, I got on with overlocking the edges and logging these on Stash Hub, and also so that I can get them in the wash. And this one, you will remember, I told you, get it up the right way, Laura. This one, I told you was a cotton lawn, and I got it from Roy's Material World. So I found this online, which might interest those of you who said you really liked it, but it's listed on there as a viscose. So I'll pop the link below where you can, no I won't, I'll update my other vlog to say where you can get it from, so do go on and have a look. But it says it's a viscose, and I think that's actually right. I don't think it's a case that this has been printed on two different substrates. I think it probably is a viscose. It's very drapey. And I had wondered at the time when I was filming, but I just went by what I thought I'd been told, but I could have misheard. It was really noisy in there. So that is my update on that one. And the second thing is that you might remember me showing you this fabric with these big flowers on, which is a kind of Ponte weight fabric. And I got this from Lily Fabrics. So again, I did the Google Lens thing. So I took a photograph of it and then searched on it. Unfortunately, it didn't come up with the skin disease this time, which is always good. But what it did come up with was the same fabric from Pound Fabrics, but an awful lot less than I paid for it. So I paid, I think, £13 a metre for this. And they have it an awful lot cheaper than that. So what I would say, and this is not having a dig at Lily Fabrics, because I do know that those stalls that they have at things like the Festival of Quilts cost a lot. So obviously it's for everybody to set their own prices depending on, you know, what their overheads are and what profit they need to make it viable. So I'm really not having a pop at Lily Fabrics for charging a higher amount. I don't know what their circumstances are, and I don't know what Pound Fabric's circumstances are, except of course that they weren't at the show. But I will update my link in the other vlog to the Pound Fabrics link. But what I think it does show is if you are at a show, sorry, lots of shows all in the same sentence, is to maybe go online and take a photograph and do the Google search and see if you can find it anywhere else online, and then just think about whether the price differential, if there is one, makes it worth purchasing at the show. Now, it might be, of course, that you could say, well, you know, they would have sold me half meters, I'm sure, whereas Pound Fabric do everything in meters. I did get a whole number of meters, but I might not have done. So that's one thing that you may otherwise have to purchase fabric you don't want. And of course, the other thing is cost of postage, whereas I was standing there and I had the car outside and I was there anyway. So it's not as big a gap in cost as you might think initially. But I did do it in terms of when I looked, and I think I mentioned this in my vlog, when I bought the spool stand, which is still down here. I did check what the prices were elsewhere, but for some reason, and I think it's because, you know, there's so many different fabrics, how are you going to find it unless you recognise it, or unless it's somewhere like, you know, Lady McElroy, for example. You're not necessarily going to be able to check, or not as easily, but it might be worth it, particularly if you're thinking of buying a large amount. So that's certainly something that I think I will be, I wouldn't say wary of, that's putting it too strongly, but if I can, I'll take a photograph of the fabric and then I'll go off, get myself a coffee, which of course is reducing the price differential again, or increasing it, I don't know, but and have a think and see if it is cheaper elsewhere and what I want to do. So that's just something that I thought I would mention in terms of going to a show and the wish I could talk today, the relative costs of doing so. The other interesting thing about the show was that I'm on the Lady McElroy mailing list, and I do remember going to their stand at the show and looking and thinking, actually, it's not as much of a saving as you might think in terms of how much they were charging. However, I then got an email saying that they were giving 30% off the remnants that they had taken to the show. And so that made it an awful lot more cost effective, because they were basically selling their fabrics at about £9.46 a metre, which for Lady McElroy is pretty good. So I may have some more fabrics to show you in the near future. That's all I'm saying about that one. But yeah, so again, now I know that, I might go and have a good look at their remnants and then take the risk of hanging on and see if they do the same thing again. Right, one more thing, and then I'll leave you in peace for your weekend. And that is, I've got a mate to show you, which is also from my mate 9. And this is the Megan Nielsen, sorry, that's the fabric just gone for a burn, Jara sweater. So I made the view with the high neck, but then I did the crop length and put the ribbing on, and put ribbing on the sleeves. So it's made in this beautiful blue and purple French terry lightning pattern from Pound Fabrics, funnily enough, and they've still got it in stock, so I'll link that below. And then just some plain blue ribbing, which I can't remember where I got it from, but anyway, it's just plain navy blue ribbing. And I put a little label in it which just says eat, sleep, sew. And that is a Kylie and the Machine label, which I was gifted by a friend who had tons and tons of labels and couldn't use them all. So that was my first Megan Nielsen, and it might seem, was it my first? Actually, it is. It's my first Megan Nielsen. It's also my first Jara, but it won't be the last. I made a straight size 10. It was absolutely fine. So you might think it was a bit of a weird sew for the summer, but I went to watch the Open Golf at Troon in July, and the Open Golf is always on a links course, which is on the coast, and essentially when the wind blows, it's very cold. And B, we were camping, and I thought, I need a nice warm wardrobe. So I took that, and I have worn it, and I will put a picture in of me here on the golf course. So this was on one of the practice days, and I'm standing next to the iconic kind of Rolex clocks that they have around the course. So I'm really pleased with it. I started making it at the Sewing Social that I went to in July that I've mentioned earlier, with Mandy and Sam, and I didn't do very much because I was too busy chatting, but I managed to sew it up in time to go away the following Saturday. I think the pattern's fine. I think it's pretty clear, although, to be honest, because it is a fairly basic sweatshirt design, I didn't really need to look at the instructions too much. I do want to make the one with the tie front, and I want to also try to do it so that I do that in a double layer. So I need to think carefully about that, and I know other people have done that, but I deliberately didn't do that because I didn't want to rush it, and I want to think more carefully about it. But I have done it, and that is now ticked off my Make 9. The only other change I might make is maybe to lengthen the sleeves by probably about an inch. I don't know what it is with me at the minute, but I seem to keep wanting to lengthen all the patterns that I make in the arm by about an inch. So either my arms have grown or patterns just, I don't know, but I just seem, particularly with sweaters, thicker tops, I seem to keep needing to lengthen the arms. But other than that, perfectly fine, really straightforward, love it. I'm sure I'm going to get lots of wear out of it. If you want to see a vlog on what I took with me to the Open in terms of me maids, do let me know, because what I found was that whereas when I went to Florida in May, I didn't really take any me maids with me, because basically I have kind of quite big gaps in my summer wardrobe in terms of sewing. I could take loads this time because I was dressing for a cooler, rainier summer, and I wore them all loads as well. So let me know if you want that as a vlog, and I will happily film that for you. Most things are in the wash at the minute, and this is going straight in the wash afterwards. Trying to film 2 vlogs over the weekend. I am filming this one, and I am also going to film one introducing what I'm going to do for the Busy Bee Sewing Challenge number 2, which is the Transformation Challenge. So I'm going to do an initial vlog for that, talking about some options of what I can do. Other than that, I would say that I am in a slight state of sewing overwhelm, in that I am trying to sort out my sewing room and having a bit of a rearrange. And as I'm looking at the moment, the contents of the wardrobe where I keep most of my fabric are all over the floor. So I better leave you and go and put some of it away. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please do consider subscribing and hit the like button. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.